Hey Trekkies, it's summer, and you know what that means. It's time for Creation Entertainment's Trek to Las Vegas 2025. This year, the convention has been expanded to a 5-day schedule, August 6th through the 10th at the Rio Las Vegas Hotel. Meet all your favorite Star Trek pros in one place, and hey, maybe you swing by Vic's Lounge and you see our panel. It's a great way to meet people in person and have some fun with your fellow Trekkies. If you can't make it to Star Trek Las Vegas, of course, there's also other events around the country this year. Trek to Orlando, August 23rd through 24th. There's the Trek to New Jersey, September 6th and 7th. And finally, the Trek to Chicago, November 22nd and 23rd. We're looking forward to meeting as many of you as we can this year. So make sure that you get ready to trek to Las Vegas.
This is Ryan North, and you're listening to Open Pike Night. U-Traptor likes it, and you should too.
Is this thing on? Hello, hello. Welcome to Open Pike Night, the Strange New World podcast where your personal logs are the prime directive. I'm your host, John T. Bolds, here tonight with some amazing guests on stage and in the studio to discuss Episode 7 of Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Those Old Scientists. Join us tonight as we discuss portals and tunnels, the Star Trek embodiment of those laughing crying masks that represent acting. Who would we visit if we could go back 120 years, and which warp engine sound is our favorite? Joining me tonight are my co-hosts, the man who wants to explore every ancient podcasting artifact discovered by those old sound makers, host of Sudden But Inevitable, Jesse.
It's actually completely true. I listen to so many podcasts about Star Trek throughout the week that you could probably call me something of a Star Trek podcast expert.
And the man who has a full load of Trichurchikari grain to trade for the opportunity to be described by history as a pirate, host of Green Shirt, a newbie's trek through TNG, Cameron.
It's all I've ever wanted.
And the man who has the most popular Utah Raptor and T-Rex on the internet, co-creator of Machine of Death, Danger and Other Unknown Risks, and the recently announced Lower Decks Warp Your Own Way graphic novel. Ryan North is our guest tonight.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. It is a honor. Like I mentioned just before we started recording, I've been reading dinosaur comics for half of my life now, and
Perfect.
Very much enjoying it, and it's great to have you here.
It's gotten me through many mundane work days at the office, for sure.
That's exactly why I'm here. So I appreciate it.
But also, Ryan, I have to say, my kids don't care about a lot of the guests who come on. And I admit, when I first said your name, they didn't care either. But when I said that you wrote for Adventure Time Comics, suddenly I was the cool dad. So
yes,
I told them I would ask a question on their behalf. I don't know if you've written for this character, but their favorite character is Tree Trunks. So do you have any insight into Tree Trunks?
Tree Trunks is one of the deeper and more fascinating characters in all of fiction and all of human history. Your children have excellent taste and have clearly cottoned on to the nuance, the subtleties, the depths and truth of humanity that are expressed in this talking old lady elephant named Tree Trunks.
Well put, and I agree.
Would you like a nice apple pie?
That's what they say. My kids will quote that all day. And they do a pretty good Tree Trunks impression, too.
Well, that's great. I have never seen Adventure Time, and I do not have kids, so I will ask you about your history with Star Trek, Ryan.
Oh, gosh. I think... So we didn't really have cable when I was a kid growing up, and Star Trek was on cable. And so my catching of the show was intermittent at best. The earliest one I remember is watching probably TNG Remember Me, which is referenced in the episode we're discussing by name. And watching TOS reruns at noon when I was homesick. And after that, in high school, I was part, or rather my father was part of kind of this, I guess you'd call it a precursor to file sharing or an underground Star Trek piracy ring, where there was a guy at the office who would record the latest episodes of Voyager onto VHS off the TV and then bring them in the office so that he could give them to me to watch that night. And so I watched.
Were Orions involved?
No piracy in that sense, but it was. It made it seem very personal and almost illicit in a fun way. Like, I get these tapes from a guy my dad knows, and then I'd watch them and return them and get new tapes back. So it's a unique way to experience it, but it's always been my favorite. And when I was a kid, I didn't understand that these shows were written by writers under deadlines. I thought that this was a straightforward and honest attempt to predict the future. So for me, why would you want to watch any other show when you could watch what the future is going to be like, as told by the greatest minds working on this problem today? So I always took it very, very seriously, and still do.
And with modern Trek, with new Trek, quote unquote, have you been following all 5 of the current or most recent shows?
Yeah, in fact, if I can brag a little bit,
Please.
have been through doing Lower Decks comics, the upcoming graphic novel and the miniseries last year. Mike McMahon has given me access to the animatics for the upcoming seasons. So I've actually seen more episodes of Star Trek than most people on the planet, because I've seen a whole bunch that haven't even aired yet. Which is, as a Star Trek fan, it's so cool to get to say that and to like subtly work it into the first 5 minutes of every podcast I go on.
Did you get any insight on this episode early?
I don't want to answer without breaking NDA, but the truth is no, I didn't. Because I don't get to see Strange New Worlds scripts or rough cuts. I just see Lower Decks.
Yeah, I know it was just announced, but what can you tell us about your newest foray into Lower Decks comics?
So it is a standalone graphic novel, non-linear, choose your own path. It's it's comics where you choose what happens next. It is super awesome. I'm very excited for it. I can't say anything because nothing's been officially announced. But I guess I can say I, the guy who wrote it, think it's great. And there's so much fun there. It's with artist Chris Finoglio. We did the Lower Decks miniseries together. It's going to be great. I don't want to oversell it, but I think it's the best Star Trek nonlinear graphic novel ever written, and also the first.
So let me get this straight. You combined Choose Your Own Adventure with Lower Decks.
He didn't combine Choose Your Own Adventure. That is a copyrighted name.
Choose Your Own Adventure style of graphic novel writing with the Lower Decks, with a play on a Fleetwood Mac song title into one thing.
Yes.
Will you marry me?
Yes.
Okay. You heard it here, folks.
I will say, support the writers, support the strikers, everybody, support creators, but whoever owns the copyright on Choose Your Own Adventure, give it up. Give it up. Come on. we all grew up with it. We need to be able to say it and use it. Come on. We know what it is.
That's a dumb thing to try to copyright. Like theoretically, if you tried to copyright the letter X, right? That's just a dumb thing. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Who would do that?
No.
I love that your experience with these books is such that you're like, yes, people encounter Choose Your Own Adventure novels as often as they encounter the letter X. They're just that common.
In the 90s.
They're that ubiquitous. Yeah.
If they hadn't had such horrific graphic deaths as so many options for the ending of your story, and man, those books could get dark if you weren't weren't ready for them. But they definitely are memorable. So I'm looking forward to the Lower Decks version.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a good group of callers tonight. Man, people had as much fun calling in about this episode as they did watching it, and I'm sure the creators did making it. So
I can't wait, guys.
From Sin Sarah. Yeah.
Open Pike Night. This is Steve with Sin Sarah, but not the Sin Sarah you know. I have traveled forward in time from Thursday of this week to tell you how great the episode of Strange New Worlds, those old... Wait, what? What? No, what do you mean? They haven't seen this one. This is the one from the future. They don't have it yet. That's why I'm here. No, that was last week. What do you mean they dropped it at Comic-Con? Hang on, guys. They dropped it at Comic-Con? Oh, man, I was going to reveal all these great, juicy little things to you. And now you already know just how tall Ransom and Shax must actually be if they really tower that much more over the likes of Boimler and Mariner. Or just how much fun traveling through time actually is. Oh, here's one. I got it. Did you know that there's an upcoming episode that is a full-on Star Trek musical? No,
Yes.
Come on. They didn't already know that one. They dropped that at Comic-Con too? It's okay. Breathe. Live long. We're living long and prospering.
All right, Sid and Sarah, welcome back from Comic-Con. We will talk about all of the announcements they dropped, but we had to scramble a little bit this week because we're recording this 2 days before this episode should have even aired, according to the original schedule.
And 2 days before the next episode will air anyway.
Yeah. This is definitely a little bit of a curveball. Paramount has made themselves part of the conversation here by shortening their season by a week, but still keeping all 10 episodes in. So what are you guys' biggest conspiracy theories on why they did this?
Well, I gotta say, I think that it's obvious why they did this. They didn't have any actors or writers to populate a panel with, and they had a panel scheduled, so they needed something to fill time. Now, I will say, all power to the striking writers and actors. We do stand in solidarity. But I'm not going to complain about extra Star Trek. I mean, like 3 episodes over the span of 7 days?
Yeah.
I can deal with that personally.
So I don't know. I assumed at first I thought it had to do with the writer strike. Maybe they replaced the panel with the screening. Is that what happened, Jesse? Have you heard?
It seems to be that they were like, we have a couple of panels planned, and one of them is about this long.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay. Because they probably realized, oh wait, we're going to show this episode to a bunch of fans and they're not going to talk about it online. Let's just get ahead of it. They're going to spoil it.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that, at least.
So Ryan, we very clearly, I will say this, we did not tell you what to expect, but we did have to reschedule with you. So I'm sure some reading between the lines could happen. Are you you got any conspiracy theories about this, or is this sounding like Jesse and Cam are on the right path?
I mean, I also absolutely support the strikers and the actors and the writers. But maybe looking on the bright side, they were just like, this episode is great. Why hold it back? Why not give them this good stuff as soon as it's finished, hot off the presses?
Yeah.
Now, Ryan, let me just ask, because when we reached out to you asking if you wanted to come on to talk about an episode of season 2 of Strange New Worlds, immediately you said didn't say it. You didn't know it was episode 7. You said crossover episode, give it to me. So pretty excited for it.
Yes.
Did it live up to your obviously very high expectations?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I feel like I'm biased because I love Star Trek and I love Lower Decks and I've written Lower Decks comics and stuff, but I was so pleased with everything they did. And honestly, the part where I just could feel the love blossoming in my heart was after the opening where they go to the credits and they did it Lower Decks style. And that is such a grace note because they didn't have to. It obviously cost money to recreate that Enterprise in the Lower Decks style. But it was just a way of showing you how everyone involved just loved this and wanted to do the most they could with it. Just a delight through and through.
Agree 100%. And I actually saw on Twitter, you can follow us there at Open Pike if you're so inclined. One of the artists for that segment said, we initially sent in our treatments for this, and they sent back a note that said, this is too realistic. make it more animated looking. And I'm like, what a great problem to have with your animators. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, what I love is it's the perfect intro to do this with too, because the way it starts black and then lights up and just the very stylized shots anyway, you're kind of like, wait, is this? Are they? You're leaning forward in it's
It's
not till like really the third shot where you're like, oh, yes, this is animated.
This is absolutely animated. Yeah, they did a great job with that. I do love the idea. I mean, I love the idea that, yes, they said, we know this is such a good episode and such a unique episode. Let's get it out there in front of people. But I also really like the idea of Paramount being the substitute teacher rolling the TV into the classroom because there's no lesson plan for the day, which I'm sure there's a happy medium somewhere in there. But it's, right. I mean, it definitely was a good PR call on their part. And we'll talk more about everything else they did PR wise that same day, because man, are they trying to bring as much focus to these shows as possible. Let's talking about like how much this show, how well this episode has been received. Let's hear from our next caller.
Hey, this is Jessie from Alaska. I just finished watching Those Old Scientists, and I'm so happy about it. I had such a crappy day, and it's so hot, and this was like perfect. I was confused by Spock's expressions as well. I wish there was a few more episodes kind of like this. It was so fun, and I don't have any bad critiques or anything like that for this episode. It was just so much fun, and you could tell that everyone was having fun. I don't know. I wish I would have shown Pike's party, and I just wish there would have been a little more. And I really liked it at the end where Strange New Worlds, that crew got cartoonized at the end.
All right, that was Jessie from Alaska. I can hear in her voice and so many people's voices how much joy this episode of Star Trek has brought. I don't know. I mean, is this like the most joyous Trek followed by what? The one with the whales? I mean, what joyous Star Treks have there been that are this like this beloved? Because this one is beloved out of the gate by so many people.
Lots of people saying one of their favorite Star Trek episodes ever.
Yeah.
There's some people saying it's their favorite episode of television ever, which, I mean, I'm fully behind that. I don't know if there's another episode of Star Trek you could point to that people were giddy about, right? Like, and maybe maybe Relics with Scotty and TNG, but I don't know because I didn't experience that as it happened. Right. I'm not old enough. But the like, just like a truly pervasive atmosphere of positivity, even on social media, right? Like, this is the internet, and people were happy. Like, I honestly felt completely vindicated because I've been telling people Lower Decks is the best of everything that Star Trek has to offer. And I saw a lot of people saying, okay, I never watched Lower Decks, but I'm going to check it out now. So I mean, this is, there's no other word for this episode than home run, right? Like, it's perfect. Actually, it's not perfect. I do have one complaint, and I'll address that later.
No, I was going to ask.
It's very close to perfect.
Right now, Jessie said she couldn't find one complaint. I was going to force all of us to come up with one nitpick about this episode. I have mine.
Okay. Do you guys want me to start? Okay, Cameron, you start.
Okay, I mean, she had one. She was like, I wish there was more of it.
Right. Yeah. My only complaint is when Boimler raises his hand on the transporter to Spock, and then when we get the reverse of him landing on the planet, his hand's down.
Yep.
My only issue with this episode.
Gotcha.
See,
that's quite a nitpick.
I thought about that. I'm like, well, he was doing it mid-transport, so if you think like the snapshot of who, when they start the transport, like, does it revert him back to that with the Heisenberg compensators? And,
because John's giving you like a Trekkie answer to
yeah, exactly.
All right, perfect episode. You got me.
I absolutely noticed that too. I think I could have honestly used a little bit, not a ton more, but like one more Orion scene somewhere in there. Also, I don't think this required a previously on.
Yes.
And I think the biggest crime I didn't notice it when we first watched the screener because it wasn't on the screener. The biggest crime was the skip intro button appearing on the opening credits. It's like,
yeah.
Imagine if you skip
why
that.
would you put that in there? Yeah.
Now I got to ask online, did anybody skip the intro?
That's good. Good call.
That would just ruin your whole day, because
Yeah.
then you go online to say, I love this episode, and people are like, yeah, the intro, and you're like, oh, I'm that person. Like,
Yeah.
Now I have to go watch it
that's
again.
brutal.
Yep.
Darn. Let's see. Okay, so do you guys have a guess as to what my nitpick is? Was there something as you were watching you're like, oh, Jesse's gonna hate
Was
that?
there anything with a single nacelle?
No
Good
single
call.
nacelles.
No.
It was too audacious and too successful.
I would never complain about that.
Not enough Ortegas, or the weird throwaway line of "We don't have warp or weapons right now."
No, so those are both good guesses. I think those were perfect. I kind of wish Pike's hair was a little taller when he was animated.
Yes, 100%.
But
His hair is more amazing in real
little.
life, is more impressive in real life than his, like, caricature.
and
Yeah, we should have been looking at Johnny Bravo. Like we, yeah.
exactly. It's not a deal breaker. It didn't hurt me in the moment. It took me like 4 watches to be like, wait a minute, that's what I was noticing about this. So yeah, I would say that's my only issue, but like it's so small that it doesn't actually register on my rating scale. So spoiler alert, when the ratings come up, I'm easy to pick.
Well, the thing about that is I'm wondering if the line about his hair in the episode was improvised on set after the internet had started freaking out about his hair after the first season started airing.
True. Yeah.
They probably weren't even thinking about his hair when the animation started, which would have had to happen before the
Oh,
first
yeah,
season
Ryan,
started
Ryan just
streaming.
posted something in the private chat, which Ryan, you want to talk about
Yes.
that? Yeah.
My artist on Lower Decks, Chris Fanoglio, did a cover for one of the Star Trek comics where he got to draw Pike in the animated style before this episode aired. So if you're hurt, Jesse, from not having that much hair, this image, which doesn't work well in an audio medium, but it has Pike. The cover is just his face from like the top 2/3 up, and most of the focus is on this hair. It's even covering up the title of the comic.
Yes, we had a bit of a deep dive into the Illyrian Enigma comic series several episodes ago.
Yeah.
But that was, for
Yeah.
me, that was the cover, right? I was like,
Mhm.
this is what justifies the existence of this tie-in comic.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it needs to exist.
And then it was very confusing when the next editions of it didn't have. I think we were all expecting more Lower Decks versions. Like, oh no, just that one. Okay.
That's something I love about variant covers for comics, is it's like, nope, doesn't need to be a scene from this story.
Yeah.
Nope, doesn't need to be in the same style. Yep,
Special
totally
treat.
good. Yeah, and
Just a
it
treat
works.
for being good.
Yeah. It's like a little
perk.
Scooby snack for people.
All
Like
right,
me.
Ryan.
How about you, Ryan?
So I was thinking, one of my favorite things about Star Trek is you can always explain away a nitpick by knowing more about Star Trek. And my go-to example of this is like in TNG, in Relic, since you mentioned that, at the end of it, Geordi and Scotty beam through the Janolan shields. The shields are up as the doors are closing, and they somehow beam through it. You can't beam through shields. But if you remember, O'Brien mentioned a shield recycling technique that leaves a millisecond window in which you could send signal through. So it's not an error. It's just, if you know more, you can solve it. So maybe Boimler beamed down with his hand raised, realized he forgot something in the ship, beamed back up, got it, and we just didn't show that scene in the episode. This is the second beam down. They cut
Maybe
it for
there was a
pacing
scene
reasons.
with
There you go.
Makes
transporter
good sense to
slugs
me.
that we just didn't see, where you had to fight a slug in the beam.
Yeah.
Had to swat it away. Yeah.
That never happens again in Trek, Cameron. I promise.
you
It's
sure?
only
Are you-
Barclay. He's the only one. I promise.
Yeah, I think
All right.
Something I didn't like. I can't think of anything. I like that the caller who said was like 10 out of 10. Only note is I wish there was more of it. Before, when this was announced, I was very excited. And I was like, has there ever been a moment in history where a character in animation has crossed over into live action? This must be the first. And it's not the first because Star Wars did it.
mhm.
I'm very disappointed in that, but it's got to be the second.
But did Star Wars do it in the same episode where
Oh,
the,
right.
the
No, they've
animated
never done it in
character
the same
becomes
episode.
live action?
Ah.
Yeah. So take
But
that,
they-
Star Wars.
Sorry to mention Star Wars here. I know.
Oh,
No,
you're
it's-
good. We're not those kind of
inappropriate.
fans.
I've
Yeah.
got
Jesse is.
well, Jabba the
Cam,
Hutt
Cam and John aren't. Yeah.
We keep them in check.
with a her on them. Though.
Yeah.
But Jesse, I think Relics is a great touch point. That episode also is very hilarious with surprising moments of emotion and pathos. So I think that's a great touch point for this one.
Man.
Yeah.
I know that we will get into this, but I was genuinely caught off guard by how many feelings this episode gave me.
Dude. Yeah. Well, let's hear from another huge fan of more than just Strange New Worlds. Here is Michelle returning to the Open Pike Night stage.
Hey, Open Pike Night. I'm not gonna lie. I'm fangirling over this crossover. First of all, Jonathan Frakes was phenomenal with his directing. Just the angles, the two shots with Spock and Boimler. He just had it down where he seamlessly moved from animation to live action and back again. I also appreciated how the Strange New Worlds crew was totally game, and it was hilarious. They just all played off each other so well. This is like Trouble with Tribbles level comedy to me. Probably, I would put it above Trouble with Tribbles, actually. And the callbacks. Okay, so you all know every week I call in and I make my Crusher connections, and sometimes I feel like, should I even be doing this? And then I see this episode and I'm like, there is an actual Crusher connection. Jesse, my co-host over at Crusher Convo, caught that when Boimler was pulled into the portal, he says, "Remember me!" But my Crusher connection is actually Boimler walking onto the bridge of the Enterprise. Reminded me of Wesley Crusher walking onto the Enterprise bridge for the first time in Encounter at Farpoint with his mother not too far behind him. So I could say so much more, but I'm running out of time. Excellent episode. Pay the writers, pay the actors, so we can get more of this. I want more animated Star Trek, more live action Lower Decks. Let's do this. Live long and prosper.
All right, Michelle. Again, just loving the episode. And yeah, holy crap, the references in this one episode, the different series. Like, I clocked, obviously, a ton of TNG references, original series references, DS9, Picard, Lower Decks references in the Lower Decks the crossover, and Enterprise references, of course. Did I miss a Voyager? Did anybody notice one? Because I think I caught at least most of what they were going for. But
I don't know if there was a Voyager.
I don't think there was.
I didn't catch one. If there was, I did love when Boimler says "remember me." He's also being pulled in perpendicular to the ground, just like Crusher was in that same shot. I'm like, I recognize that shot. I know what's happening here.
Let me ask this very nerdy question. Then, is near the beginning they say, Pike and the original crew of the Enterprise. Am I wrong? Was April not a captain before Pike of the Enterprise? I thought that was a thing.
Well, Boimler corrects himself, and he's like, well, the second Enterprise. He's about to say more, but he gets interrupted by Mariner. I feel like he was going to get into the minutiae of that.
A technicality there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect answer, because
I just figured he was then referencing the NX-1.
Yeah.
Well, right. But that's the point, is like, he probably would have gone on to clarify, well, there was another Enterprise, and there was another captain of this Enterprise, but, et cetera, because it seems like, we love April, right? We love April here, but it seems like maybe Captain was just the next step on his career ladder to Admiral, which seems to be where he's the happiest.
My understanding of April was that he was sort of the shakedown cruise captain for a while. Like, I don't think he did a lot of very important stuff in the Enterprise, but that might be headcanon. I'm not sure what's canon, what I just made up to tell myself
first
stories.
Enterprise.
I love Jellicoe.
We talked about Jellicoe last episode.
Yeah. And the
talking about every episode, he's great.
Yeah, he's awesome. He shows back up in
Lower Decks.
Lower Decks, right? Yeah. So.
Oh, sorry. Prodigy.
Yeah,
Save Star Trek Prodigy.
Yeah, that's right. It was interesting that people keep saying they want more, because this is the shortest episode of the season so far. Like,
how long is it?
48 minutes, and we've had hour and 3 minutes. Yeah, tight 48. Like, this one, which kind of makes me wonder if they're angling to have this one get aired on television somewhere, because it's a lot easier to do that with a 48 than a 63. But even that's still 7 minutes too long for TV these days. But I loved the references. I loved, like, they did a ton of TNG stuff. I'm going to have to say Riker is my favorite. The Riker kick for the settle. Like, that was just, it makes so much sense, especially considering what we've seen of
and when we
Riker
were
in
group
Lower
chatting
Decks.
and watching this, I had texted you guys and said, "Oh, I hope Jonathan Frakes improvised that on the set." It wasn't him, but it was improvised. We found out on the Ready Room by Jack Quaid. He came up with it on the set.
You, John and Cameron, and those listening, you know me, right? I was a joyous mess for this entire episode. It was hard for me to focus on any one thing. And the joke per minute ratio here is even higher than on Lower Decks. Like it almost is nonstop. But what I love about it is that, the crew is a little taken aback by these two fast talking future ensigns and their big fan energy. But the scene that we get towards the end with Ortegas and Uhura fanning out over the NX crew, I think is actually really important because it's saying everybody is a fan of something. And if you get them talking about that, this is how they will sound, right? It really is a love letter directly to Trekkies. It's like, you know what? Let your Trek flag fly, because everybody cares about something in the way that you care about Star Trek. And I mean, Mike McMahon, we have known that about him for years. The creatives behind this show, we've known that about them. But I've never felt more personal gratification for a piece of media, I don't think, in my life. This was targeted at people like us, and we received it well. And I can't think of another instance for me personally where I was like, oh, that's for exactly me. And it totally was.
Yeah. Well, the impressive thing about it is, writing-wise, it also really works for the characters. To solve this problem, the Enterprise crew becomes a little bit more like the Lower Deckers. They're getting enthusiastic and fanning out. And the Lower Deckers be a little bit more like the Enterprise crew. Mariner shows she's paying attention. She knows stuff. She's got this down. It works so well structurally. It works so well from a writing perspective, and also just so well as like you're saying, this is a love letter. This is people getting to feel good about the show that they love, and I was really impressed by it.
And leave
Beautiful
it to
writing.
the Scorch on Twitter to point out that the solution the entire time was under a lower deck. What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my
What?
God. Yeah.
Oh, the writing. I did want to ask
So
you guys,
good.
since we're talking about all the other shows, do you think there's another Star Trek series that could cross over with any other series as seamlessly as Strange New Worlds? I think it's the one that could do a crossover with any of the other series and work tonally without feeling too jarring.
Yeah, I think you're right, because even the TNG DS9 crossover in the pilot was and the couple times they shared characters, those were fun, but they weren't to me,
Joyous.
they weren't joyous, and they weren't necessarily a marriage of two very disparate concepts, right? It was DS9 is TNG with hair on its chest, so let's mix it with TNG and it should work fine. And it did. I really liked it. But the places where it contrasts were part of the setup. No, Cisco actually hates Picard, so how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And so I'll say that it sticks to that theme of giving me some unexpected feelings. But Cameron, I think you're right, because any other crew on this show, it would work. Pike always sees the best in people, as evidenced by every episode, but this one in particular. So I honestly can't think of one that I don't think it would work with, especially now knowing that he's a huge fan of Archer. I kind of would love to see him get to go on the bridge of the NX-01. Give me Pike as a fangirl. I would be totally here for that.
He gets his "These Are the Voyagers" moment. Yeah. There is one, we'll hear it compared later. There is one crossover episode that even comes close to the level of crossover in this. It's a DS9 episode, and it works, but the story, it's not as impactful a story. Honestly, it was almost more of a showing off technology, look what we can do kind of thing. I believe it was on the coattails of Forrest Gump, and so they kind of were what could we do if we had that kind of technology where we could put them in? And then I would say the only other recent example of a crossover I could even think of would be the Rainn Wilson Harry Mudd Discovery episode, it's not even really a crossover, but it is a bringing back of a character. And also, but genuinely one of my most, like, this is just a fun episode to watch because it's just gets ridiculous.
Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad is not only one of my favorite disco episodes, it's one of my favorite Star Trek titles of all time. I prefer when they wouldn't fit on a screen. Like, that's what I like. Actually, Cameron, now that I think about it, let me turn this question on you. Do you think that the Lower Decks characters would fit into any other Star Trek series in a similar way? Or would it just be so tonally different that it wouldn't work?
I mean, yeah, I don't think I could see him on Disco or DS9.
Yeah,
I
probably
totally
not
could.
Disco.
100% I could see them.
I could deal with it, and
Sure.
I would be excited, but I don't know that
But it's going to change the show they go into more than I feel this changed Strange New Worlds. Like, this still felt like Strange New Worlds. And just to Michelle's point, I love the Boimler POV shots. They do it a lot.
Oh,
I love
POV.
them. Love them.
So much POV. Yeah.
Because he is us.
And my last note for Michelle, and I'm sure this is going to be pervasive for all the callers, as John mentioned, I got to say, I really love hearing people smile when they're calling into our show. Because like you can just hear that they can't get their face to stop smiling while talking about this episode. And, you know, what is Star Trek if not joy persisting?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's hear from another joyous caller. Here is Jesse from Crusher Combo.
Guys, oh my gosh, this episode. Oh, right. This is Jessie. Hi, sorry. I am just so excited about this episode. I can't even think straight. I've already watched it twice. I'm going to watch it again. When they announced this crossover, I was excited but curious how this would play out, and it exceeded my expectations, and it gave me stuff I didn't even know I needed. Everyone played it perfectly. You could tell they were having fun. It was different, but it gave off a great message at the same time. I loved when Boimler told Pike something like, when the day comes he's not around anymore and the crew of his ship would wish to have one last time to talk to him. I mean, gut punch. So freaking good. I couldn't help but think that Gates McFadden is going to fucking love this episode. I just think it's like right up her alley. And Frakes directed the hell out of this episode. The animation was amazing. Okay, now I'm just rambling. I'm so sorry. I'm just so excited and I just love it. I rate this 1701 tricorders. Okay, bye.
All right, Jesse, thank you for calling in. The balance, the emotional range in this comedy crossover episode. Holy crap. Go for it.
Jonathan Frakes lied to my face. When I met him at Fan Expo, I asked him for one tease about this episode, and what did he tell me? If you've listened to all our episodes, you know he told me it's just a straight comedy. It's not trying to do anything but be funny. Yeah. Mother Frakeser, I teared up multiple times, all 3 times I watched this episode. That's so good.
So much tearing up. Yeah.
The unexpected scene in the turbo lift with Boimler and Chapel, I was like, I mean, you know, Chapel running after Boimler, you're like, oh, how's he going to screw it up? And then you're like, oh no, my heart. Like the way that she delivered that line of, you know, I never expected to get to influence him forever.
Like,
it had a little bit of Lower Deck spice in it, but the look on her face, man, it was, I didn't expect any kind of feelings coming out of this other than like, I'm so happy. And to have that there combined with the very, very poignant scene in Pike's quarters at the end, I like Boimler. I mean, that's what you get with a Boimler, right? Yeah. You get true heartfelt dedication to Star Trek and Starfleet in his case. But the way that manifests itself, I mean, you've got Tawny Newsome there, like drawing the chair with her hands and covering part of her face. And you still are feeling emotional for Pike and Boimler. Like, and then they pivot into this moment about Pike's dad. Like, I was completely thrown off by that and just so grateful for it. But man, that and then the scene where Pelia gives Boimler a little bit of advice. I mean, I'm blown away by this episode, and this is probably as close as I'll ever get to not having the words to describe how I really feel about this.
Well, I mean, but you didn't name the one that hits me the biggest, which is the ad astra per aspera moment. Like, as soon
They put it on
as
the
he
poster.
says those words, and then she says, they put that on the... Like, I'm choking up right
Tears.
now.
Yeah.
And to have a callback from so recently be so effective is very impressive.
Yeah.
I thought they put it on the poster line was beautifully written, beautifully delivered. I thought the scene with Chapel in the turbo lift with Boimler was great because you see this train wreck coming and Boimler can't see it and Chapel can't see it, but you can see it. And he doesn't want to hurt her, but he does. And it's all over her face. And that's not even what I wanted. Such a heartbreaking line. I think that's the fun of Lower Decks too, is that people maybe think, oh, this is goofy Star Trek, this is jokey Star Trek, it's not real, it doesn't really matter. And that show has as much, if not more, heart than any other Star Trek. It really takes you on a journey with these characters and makes you care about them, and you feel their successes and you feel their losses. And pulling it off here was great. I mean, I sound like a broken record. Turns out Ryan North likes Star Trek, but yeah, it's really good.
I will say this definitely, like watching it again today, like, okay, this is, if you're a fan of Lower Decks, this is bold Boimler, because he does confront Chapel. He does confront Pike and say, yeah, that sucks about your dad, but you've got a whole crew. Yeah.
You are space dad.
Yeah.
He also calls Pike out on his, questionable behavior from his own perspective. Like, well, in my time, that's considered offensive.
Yeah.
So.
But also, I will say, I do really, really appreciate what the writers did in the science scene with him and Spock. He has the conversation with Spock, and he has that hard conversation too. But also, they let Spock say their part out loud of, well, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do because that's what I'm doing. And it's like, oh, they're talking to the fans. They're talking to the haters right now so much with that.
Well,
line
that turbo
from
lift
Spock.
scene, yeah, because we've been asking that in the past few episodes. Just 2 episodes ago, we were like, is this going to be TOS Spock, or are they just making their own Spock at this point? And it's like, without even knowing we were going to ask that, the writers were like, no, he's going to get to TOS Spock. Don't worry. It's all canon.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to, we're going to take this road first. That turbo lift scene is so good because it shows like how well the serialization of the show works with the episodic format. In the Lower Decks crossover episode, we know that Nurse Chapel has, she put up all these barriers for her feelings with Spock, her resistance to commitment, her knowing he's engaged. That's a pretty fair barrier, actually, Nurse Chapel. Probably some professionalism, it seemed like it was in there. And she's finally worked her way through all those. She's finally opened herself. Just in the last couple episodes, we see her like accepting that this might be a real thing, that he might be a boyfriend. And then all of a sudden to learn that not only is this relationship doomed, but it needs to be doomed for the sake of the universe. It's like, it takes something relatable and then just puts that sci-fi spice on it. That's great.
Yeah. Cam, you've brought this up before, the question of fate in the Star Trek universe. And now we have had 2 time travelers, an admiral and an ensign. The admiral talked to Pike, the ensign talked to Spock and told them, you need to be a certain Spock for the good of the entire universe, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And in 17 episodes, they've delivered that message twice.
Mm-hmm.
So it is one of those, like, how fateful was this accidental portal,
Having Boimler list off all the things that Spock is known for, and in his head, the last thing he would say is, but nobody said anything about him smiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
What Chapel hears is, but nobody ever mentions his relationship with you.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, what a gut punch, to borrow that phrase. And Ryan, I got to agree with you 100% on Lower Decks, just bringing the heart as part of what it is, because, I mean, there are multiple moments through that series where I teared up watching a funny cartoon. At the end, I think it's the end of the first season when Shax throws Rutherford into the shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like, I can't even talk about it right now. But like, it really does understand what makes Star Trek great, right? It's that full commitment to the part, but also to the heart. And I now would like every lower decker to get to come to Strange New Worlds. Now, maybe that's a little bit overkill, but I mean, give me live action Shax. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
I'll also say that final scene with the Orions kind of got me a little choked up too, but I want to talk about them all on their own a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll give them their own moment in the sun. Let's hear from our next caller, Engineer Mark, calling in.
Hi there, this is Engineer Mark, and I am doing my watch-along of Episode 7. It has been a day. Star Trek was dropping all these bombs, one after the other, on the entire fandom. It's been amazing, including this episode. They animated the entire intro. I don't have words. It is just so amazing. They really struck a fantastic balance. This is so unbelievably awesome that I just don't have words for a half of this. I could watch this episode 5 times and still not have better words.
So I clipped this from Mark because that was throughout the episode, but a lot of people I clipped out, I don't know what to say from their calls because they were just so overjoyed. So I think I'm going to we're going to talk about Pike and Pike's performance in this, his part in this episode, because, man, Anson Mount again and again shows, like, give this man more comedy, because holy crap, does he, he never gets angry in this episode, but he is every other gamut of disappointed, exasperated, flattered, annoyed.
I mean, Jerry O'Connell's liked my comment on this on Twitter, but Anson Mount, Jerry O'Connell buddy comedy, give it to us.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
We talk a lot about how the cast is always what elevates Star Trek, right? Like, sometimes the material is a little, whatever the word you want to use is, but they always cast so well that it doesn't even matter. How many times have you watched TNG and gone, well, this episode, whatever, but Patrick Stewart's up there acting his face off, and you're like, okay, I believe this. I'm here with you. Like, for Anson Mount to be able to do that in dramatic fashion, in comedic fashion, like all these different characters within Pike, right? The space dad, the duty-bound officer, like the love-struck guy who's missing his captain girl. Like, there are so many facets to his performance throughout this series. And to Mark's point, they dropped a lot of stuff at San Diego Comic-Con, including the trailer for that musical episode. Guys, the bar couldn't be higher. Like, I imagine that Anson Mount has like a Grammy-level singing voice, right? Because if he doesn't, I'm just going to be surprised. I won't be upset, but I will be very surprised because I've yet to see something this man can't do. And by extension, I've yet to see something Jack Quaid can't do. My word. He and Tawny Newsome arguably carried this whole episode, right? Like,
we got a whole montage.
This is a lift.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cast in general, so good. And comedic moments from La'an? Are you kidding me?
She keeps getting them.
I loved M'Benga's explode line.
Yeah. Explode, you said? Yeah.
Oh, man. Like, that was probably 80 yard, but it was so good. Like, I love that moment.
Comedy. I mean, I guess the Elysian Kingdom was, but he was the straight man in that.
Yeah. Oh, just wait till next week, Cam. Episode 8 is the M'Benga comedy episode.
I do want to talk about Pike a little bit because, we've kind of wondered, well, what's his arc going to be, right? He's kind of accepted his fate at the end of season 1. What's his deal? What's his deal in season 2? And we haven't seen a lot of them, so we haven't really known. I think what we're seeing here is, because I was like, would he be that kind of taken by the fanboy? Would he be that kind of like, oh, you dress as me for Halloween? And then I realized so he knows he's going to not be around and the way he wants to be in a few years. We know that he is already feeling guilt about missing out on a lot of the Klingon war. He's probably wondering, what's he going to do with his life? He hasn't done much yet. I mean, he did a lot of great stuff season 1, but I've only got a few more years. Yeah. What am I going to do? And so hearing like, oh, this guy worships me. This guy hero worships me. I've got a holiday named after me. Like, He's realizing he doesn't know what it's going to be, but he's going to do something that's worth remembering in the time he has left. And I think that's maybe his arc now is like, what will his legacy be?
Ryan, what's been your take on Anson Mountain Pike?
Yeah, my first experience with him as an actor was in the Inhumans TV show where he wasn't even allowed to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this guy has a lot of charisma. I wonder how good he could be if he could speak. And then you see him on Star Trek, and he's the word I went for was commanding, which is an obvious one. But it feels like you can throw anything at this guy, and he's going to just nail it and elevate it and do new things with it. He's so watchable. He's such a good captain. Yeah, I got no notes for him.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. I think as we're talking about this, I'm realizing we were joking. Was it Bill or Dave we were joking about a holiday episode with?
Henry.
But Boimler performed several Christmas miracles in this episode. For Una, for Pike, for Chapel and Spock. Like, not all great miracles for the Orions. Like, Boimler is Santa Claus in this episode with the red and white uniform. So, yeah.
And the gift that Mariner bestows on Uhura, and that whole scene in Uhura's quarters, like, I mean, if there was ever a scene written for the actor as opposed to the character, right? Like, having Celia Gooding just say, "I'm 22. I have these huge shoes to fill and great expectations of me. How am I supposed to feel?" And it's just like, wow, like, talk about a true to life scene. And I really almost like teared up just watching how happy Mariner was to see Uhura, whereas Boimler is happy to see everything, right? But I mean, even from the start, she's like, wow, yeah, you guys are great, but seriously, is Uhura here? Yeah. Like, I was like, man, this is like, it couldn't be better. And to your point, Ryan, it really does fit. Like, it fits Lower Decks and it fits Strange New Worlds, and it's magic. I think that's the word I'm going to come back to a lot here, is that it's just
I wanted
magic.
to spend a little more time on that Uhura scene because, I don't think that scene would have affected me as much if we hadn't had our conversation with Celia Rose Gooding. If you haven't listened to that episode, I'm telling you, like, go back and listen. They're amazing. But yeah, it's them. It's their story in Uhura's words. They are aware of their age, 22, and like how much responsibility or how much expectations are on them for what their future holds and what they've accomplished so far and how everyone views them. And that it just made that scene, like, took it to a whole nother level.
Having her kind of needle Mariner like a friendly needle, right? But regulations?
Already I know that you're not a regulations person.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Jonathan Frakes. I don't know if it was just happy coincidence. I don't know if it was the sound editor in post. Whoever put the hand squeaking on the table in the conference room scene deserves like their own credit and their own just spotlight, because that moment of comedy right there, I'm like, oh, this is
that feels like a Tawny knew something to me. I think she was like, that's a fun noise. I'm going to do a lot of that.
Like, yeah. All right, well, let's talk about Jack and Tawny, and we'll get to our montage of the episode from almost every one of our callers.
Lower Decks! Lower Decks!
Jack Quaid and Tawny Lusum had good chemistry with the Strange New Worlds cast.
Boimler was totally awesome. Mariner was awesome.
And then Boimler does the Riker maneuver. Of course he does.
The Boimler butt wiggle. I loved it.
Yes.
I felt like it was kind of a blink and you miss it moment. So I was glad that I saw that.
It was interesting hearing their voices coming out of themselves instead of a cartoon character.
Boimler's running, the way Mariner is talking with her hands, his screaming. They're talking over each other.
It was great seeing Newsom and Quaid reprise their characters in real life. My favorite part is how they infused the show with jokes and references as they do on their own show, Lower Decks.
Glad that I was able to catch it. And then when I rewatched it with our 12-year-old, I made sure that he was paying attention so he'd catch it too, because he loves Lower Decks.
How great Boimler looks in live action and how great Mariner looks in live action and just how sharp those uniforms were.
And Mariner and Boimler felt like their characters. It wasn't jarring at all. And a lot of that also has to go to the credit of Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome. So props there for keeping it in character, especially with their movements and the way they bantered and interacted and touched everything and the bumps and the walks. It was great. It was great.
Thank you for that nice little mother-son bonding moment.
Can we just give Tawny and Jack the Emmys now? Like, seriously. Oh, right. This is about Strange New Worlds.
One of the details I loved from the Ready Room was, it didn't occur to me that Jack Quaid would have to watch Lower Decks to see how to act as Boimler. Like, he's got the voice that I'm sure came natural to him. But yeah, of course, he would have to do research to find out how to behave as his character. That's fascinating. Yeah, 100% did a great job.
And Tawny's walk, there's one shot where she got the Mariner walk down also just before the Boimler butt wiggle, which overshadowed it. But when she's walking down the hall toward the camera, I was like, oh man, either they based it off her or she really had to do some research there too.
The way that they translated not just the voices and not just the physicality, but the spirit of Lower Decks into reality, it blew me away, right? Like, having Tawny comment, like, oh my God, hot Spock is right there. He's so hot. The ears, the body, the hair, it's all working. Like, it was, in any other combination of series, that would be like fourth wall breaking, right? And it almost is here, but it's like, it's set up to be broken. Like, they tore the fourth wall down and then they built a house entirely out of the bricks of that wall. And I agree with you, Jesse. Yes, Emmys all around. This episode better win an Emmy. Like, it does rise to that level for me where it's like, this is better than anything I've seen recently on TV. And a big part of that comes from me being a huge Trekkie, right? But when you think about all of the technical aspects on top of all the acting stuff that goes into an episode like this, I mean, it's just, there is no other way to say it. It's an award-winning level episode of television. To the comment about how, they're bringing every aspect of these characters in as well, like the butt wiggle and the way they talk with their hands and things like that. I loved that we got Mariner's rolled up sleeves. Like, she's just there to kick ass and have a good time, and she's all out of ass, right? Like, it's the fidelity with which this translation was done is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, there's never a moment where you don't believe that these are the same characters you've seen in animation, which is, I think, a credit to the actors. The second they show up, you're like, yes, these are the same people, just through a different lens. And I think, in retrospect, it would be so easy to have that not hit, to have it feel like, oh, this is live action Boimler who's different, or this is live action Mariner and she's not quite the same, but they read exactly the same, which is terrific. And part of what makes it so fun, I think.
Well, and I actually didn't know about this until today. One of our followers on Twitter, I think it was
at Alpha Talking, I think,
mentioned Tawny Newsome's nose ring. And she had, put on Twitter, oh, it was too soon after I got my piercing to take it out, so we couldn't take it out. I didn't notice it. Like, I didn't see it. And I don't know if that's because my wife has a nose ring, so I just assume those are normal. Or if it was, I think I was just so caught up in everything that it didn't even strike me as like an incorrect detail, right? I was just like, yeah, that's her. That's how Mariner looks. Like, I feel that any slack that I'm cutting this episode is like 3 inches long, right? Like, everything has to work, and it all does. And then the one complaint that I had is like an animation thing, and it's not even really a complaint. So I gotta agree with everybody and their gushing
people much smarter about these things than me have talked a lot about it on Twitter, so I would advise you to go find those threads. But Jesse, you mentioned the sleeves, and I think we just have to acknowledge the costumes. Once again, Bernadette Croft.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Acknowledged. Like that. I'm not the person to talk about it, but I can recognize it's amazing.
Yeah. Those clean lines, that white piping all the way across the arms and chest, that is precision tailoring. And it looks so good that it looks drawn. It doesn't look like real fabric. They did so
she
well
is
on this.
top of the list
Yeah.
for our interviews after the season, and not just because she's not an actor or
Yeah.
writer.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to figure out somehow how to do it visually and have a video interview with her, because I would love to see some of her sketches and her, like her design process and the poster that we've been told about.
Our friend on Twitter, The Scorch, who is the oldest remaining whole plate on the Enterprise, has a great
That's what
thread
it was,
about those uniforms, as Cameron was mentioning. So go check that out. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hear from, I believe it's her first time calling onto the Open Pike Night stage, but somebody we've definitely talked to before. Here is Jen from My Streaming Bubble.
Hey, Open Pike Night. Jen here from the My Streaming Bubble podcast. Oh my God, Captain Pike, heart hands forever. I love that he is the Boy Scout of the Federation. I adore Captain Pike. I think he's great, and Anson Mount is doing an amazing job with that character. I loved every time, like, he realized how idolized he was by Boimler, and just that little grin and kind of those hee aw shucks moments were just perfect. It was just really fun and sweet and cute. So thank you for that. And ad astra per aspera and numera una, because first of all, how did I not think of that before? It was genius. I just kind of love this overall arc for the character and eventually becoming the poster girl / woman for Starfleet, especially knowing where her character started out at the beginning of the season and really the series, and knowing that everything she went through wasn't for nothing. And she gets this great honor bestowed upon her to be the face. And it's comforting to know that things eventually work out for Una. And that's so lovely, and I love it so much. Of course, there are many other moments in this episode that I absolutely loved and adored. Thank you for letting me ramble and fan gush about this episode, and you also live and bye.
Nice. All right, Jen, thank you for calling in. I will start off by saying I have come around on Ad Astra because of a Lower Decks crossover episode. Like, Ad Astra per Aspera, I get it now. I get why it wasn't a season 3 episode. I get why they did it when they did it. And yes, it is a better episode for this one having existed.
To do it in a way that, like, kind of takes Una off guard, right? Because the whole episode, she's like, oh, he doesn't like me, or I'm going to die. And he knows that. Like, there's something uncomfortable about this. To have that spun on its head and be like, no, actually, he just admires you equally or more than he admires Captain Pike, is, you can see that hit her in the heart. Now, I love the character moment for Una because, as we know, she likes to hide behind rules and regulations. And what does she immediately say? You should probably have not told me that because of temporal regulations. But thank you. And then she gives Boimler this little wink, like single most effective wink in Star Trek history.
I mean, the pinup, all the pinup stuff is hilarious. And then to take what feels like a running joke and then turn it into the most heartfelt moment. Because, this has just happened to her. She knows she got off on a technicality, but she's probably still dealing with, like, does Starfleet still accept me? They've allowed me on, but do they want me here? Are they accepting me here? I know my crew does, but that's asshole Vulcan guy, I don't know about him. And to learn that not only does she become accepted, but the poster girl / woman. But to Jesse, to your point, these aren't really complaints because it's all so great in the episode. But for them being so upset with Boimler and Mariner, like messing up time travel regulations, chrono laws, they analyze their badges. That seems like a no-no. And both Una and Spock are very curious about their futures and keep asking about it.
That's totally fair.
And they just let Boimler wander wherever he wants in the ship.
Wherever, yeah.
But on the other hand, they don't peek when their backs are turned.
Well, of course, Ortegas is the only one to actually peek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love that that it is, when you look at it through the frame of episode 2 of Ad Astra per Aspera.
You're just showing off at this point,
like,
John, saying that title.
Well, oh yeah. But the fact that they brought a civil rights allegory episode in, and then they said, Oh, and 120 years later, this civil rights allegory is still impacting. In 5 episodes later, they're able to effectively show that. Is really like I like where they're going with that of trying to show like, hey, this stuff does matter for a very, very long time. And it is, while it's a beautiful personal moment for Una, it also is like, she's getting more drug tests than usual. Like her Starfleet pension payments all of a sudden, like her statement is all messed up. It's like, behind the scenes, it's still not going well for her.
Another random locker search on really.
Yeah.
It's always landing on me. I will say thank you, Ryan, for giving me this line to use on Cameron. Actually, Cameron, if you know more about Star Trek, you'll realize that Captain Pike and Una had to analyze everything about Boimler while he was unconscious because they don't know what kind of portal that is. He could be some kind of saboteur,
they couldn't read
right?
Nausicaa yet
maybe
to know that it was a time portal,
right? So maybe they thought, oh, this guy is pretending to be Starfleet. He's some kind of spy. Like, why is this different? Let's check it out. And then it seems like they maybe stopped that after they realized that. But the line, we'll do a favorite line thing at the end, and it will be impossible to pick. But when Pike says flipping it open is the funnest part, I was like, my dad has said that to me. Like he was like, the only thing I didn't like about TNG was that they didn't flip their communicators open anymore.
Oh yeah. Pike and Una are the boomers of this episode. Like,
and the first cell phone my dad ever had, you better believe it was a Motorola flip phone so that he could pretend he was opening a communicator.
That's why Motorola designed them that way. Probably. I'm fairly certain.
So let me ask you guys, just talking about the future hints and chrono times, this episode is a great chance for the writers to maybe drop some future Easter eggs of things they're planning to do with these characters. Because Boimler makes a lot of statements about Spock and things that we know about Spock and Uhura, of course, but maybe there's hints about some of the other characters we don't know about. For instance, I mentioned earlier, I don't think Christopher Pike has done anything to deserve a holiday yet. I mean, maybe the events at the end of Discovery Season 2, but that's all hush-hush and swept under the carpet, so it wouldn't be that. He's going to do something that gets him a holiday. I also was wondering when he points out Ortegas and says, oh, war hero Ortegas. And she was like, yeah, I told you. And Una kind of was like, really? Maybe it's not the Klingon war he's talking about.
I don't think it is. I bumped on that too. I think he's talking about some war in the future.
The Gorn war, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Gorn.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I don't know.
Oh man. I suddenly want a Gorn episode just for that. Like,
it is very satisfying when foreshadowing pays off.
And I will say we are definitely now down to just Shanghai as our last remaining season 2 one-word spoiler, because we definitely these are the Orion cocktails.
Yep.
There was a possibility in episode 1, but no, obviously this is the Orion cocktails. And man, we're down to just one more. So it's gotta be, I'm going to say episode 10. I'm going to say Dan Janot went all the way to episode 10 for his tease for season 2.
It's knowing Dan Janot as we do. He's a good friend of the show. Obviously. He's been here and he's a great guy. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that he just thought of a word and threw it out.
But somebody else recognized it after when we were reading off the list to another guest. They said, "Oh, he
it would
went
have been
with
hilarious
that."
if you had given us a one-word tease for like one of his Hallmark movies upcoming."
Right, yeah. A Royal Seaside Wedding 2 takes place in Shanghai.
All
Man,
right.
we love you, Dan Janot. And I guess, okay, secondary air quotes complaint here. Would have loved to see animated Sam Kirk.
Yeah.
Would have loved to see that mustache in glorious 2D, but I fully understand. Yeah. I mean, they crammed a lot into this episode, so I fully understand.
I will say, we know what Ortegas would look like if she transitioned to lower decks at some point.
Oh, gosh. Okay,
Do
real
it.
quick. Sorry. What?
Do it, Star
because
Trek.
of course we all knew it would be great. The Mariner Ortegas team up, like that's the duo we want. What's their mashup name? Because it can't be Mortegas.
No.
Oh, wow. Could be
Orteganer,
Orner,
Eriquette,
Maritegas.
Rebecca.
No, none of these are good.
Nope.
They're not. Yeah, I guess they can't be
We'll
a
work
ship,
on this, we'll
Cameron.
work on
Sorry.
this.
No. Yeah.
What about first names?
I was just gonna say I loved the moment of Ortegas
Yes.
and Chapel giving Boimler no
Great
end of
Oh,
credit.
Yes, moment.
That's how you know they're friends, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's go mess with that guy.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear from our next caller. Here's Mariah.
Hey, Open Pike Night, it's Mariah. All right, crossover episode. There's a million things to talk about, but I want to talk about the opening credits because they're so brilliant. I spent the entire time going, wait, how did they do this? How did they do the exact same sequence but make it look animated? And it was so fun. And then there's the, like, I don't know, bug in space thing trying to eat the Enterprise that followed them for the rest of the credits. But the final absolute coup that I didn't notice the first time, but I happened to notice the second time I was watching, is the fucking koala that shows up in the stars at the very end of the opening credits. And that just sets the whole tone. It is so good. It is just amazing. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
Mariah.
the koala is from the Strange Energies episode of Lower Decks, right? Or no. It's
two
the
episodes.
there, and the first one was when the guy was like trying to ascend or
Yes.
something, right? And he gets there and he's like, "What, the koala?"
Yeah.
Like,
Why is it smiling?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And then who's the second? Because somebody else sees a koala too, and Tendi tells him don't. In the most recent season, there's another koala reference.
Would it be with Rutherford when he's trying to figure out where Starfleet officers go when they die?
It might have been but I know there's been two koala references.
I guess I'll have to go watch Lower Decks again.
Yeah.
It's
But
the
yeah,
only way.
I want to talk about the Lower Decks part of this episode because even if you cut out Strange New Worlds, they still made like a really good miniature classic Lower Decks episode where Boimler gets upset at Mariner for something and then finds out that Mariner was actually doing him a favor with it, but she's all kind of like, oh, I won't get much. Like it's the classic episode and it's right there and it's all hilarious. And they do a fantastic job in that it's less than 4.5 minutes is the opening Lower Decks. And they fill in a bunch of funny jokes, but you get the poster. If you freeze frame it at the right point, you see the poster. It's there for like 3 frames. They give you the answer to the entire problem. He talks about the Enterprise and X1 and the Heronium right there in the opening scene, and then and all the Orion stuff as well. So like, but there's so much other stuff going on. You don't know what's important, and it's just a great job of like foreshadowing and bringing that Lower Decks into Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
I have to ask, did any of you watch it with subtitles?
Oh, the third time, yeah.
I did. I've watched it with subtitles now, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Is it Heronium? Is it spelled H-E-R-O?
No, H-O-R-O.
Horonium.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was immediately like, oh, it's Heronium because he's meeting his heroes, right? Which I was fine with. Like, it's better than Unobtainium.
Yeah.
But I immediately was like, man, there isn't anything in this that is not a joke. Like, all of it is a joke, but all of it is heartfelt. And I mean, this is a time portal for that to be the translation. Like, every single thing where I was wondering, oh, is this a joke too? Yes. The answer is yes. It's all a joke.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Jonathan Frakes was trying to say to us when he was lying to our faces. Like, trust me, it's got enough jokes.
Yeah.
So speaking of, writing enough jokes, Ryan, you have been writing a comic for 20 years now.
Yes.
And I believe you spend more time on the writing. If nobody's ever read Dinosaur Comics, you'll get that joke when you go read Dinosaur Comics at quants.com. But over the years, as like how all the work they had to put into writing these jokes, like what has it been like doing a comic like that so constantly for 20 years now?
I mean, it's a crazy thing to attempt, and I often think that how my life would be different, how weird I'd look if instead of writing these comics for 20 years and putting them online once a day, I wrote these comics for 20 years and just like wallpapered my house with them.
Noted serial killer Ryan North joins us. For the...
Simply by sharing these comics, I can become respected author instead of like, don't go over to his house. He's doing something with the same pictures, writing in different words for 20 years. This is not sane behavior. This is serial killer behavior. So context is king.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Nice. I mean, yeah, it's unbelievable how much they put in here. And I do love that they put some Lower Decks jokes in the Strange New World story. This is a time portal. That is a pure Lower Decks joke. That is like, and they're just like, nope, we made it work, and we're gonna make Uhura torture herself for it for half the episode. Like, nope, and it's just little throwaway punchline. Yep, here, this is a time portal.
Well, and on top of that, it works for Strange New Worlds because Strange New Worlds is the real series, right? Like, it's the real world where things are happening. And anybody who has ever had a job knows that sometimes you work really hard on a thing and it doesn't end up mattering at all. Like, the effort doesn't always equal the reward, right? And we're pretty used to the reward equaling the effort on Strange New Worlds. So, like, this joke fits. It has layers. It has subversion. Like, it's just magic. Pay these people more money.
And we did get to see, in the bar scene something that a caller from last week, again, with all the scheduling confusion and rescheduling of episodes, we got a late call from last week, but I think it kind of fits in with this week. So here's first time caller HB to the Open Pike Night stage.
Hey, this is HB. There was a lot going on this week, but what I want to focus on is how no one on the Enterprise seems to be able to finish a drink properly. What was up with that? Kirk was the only one. Maybe it's no wonder that he ends up hiring Scotty to be the chief engineer. Anyways, keep up the great work. Thanks.
All right, HB, welcome to the Open Pike Night stage. Good to hear from you. Old friend of Cam and mine from Alaska, the Alaska days. Yeah, I got to fully agree. People are terrible at actually finishing their drinks until Uhura in this episode when she chugs her cocktail.
Also, Abby, I got to say, I paid attention and saw the bartenders' outfits, and they are excellent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did like I was thinking about it, like, oh, yeah, Uhura is the only one who finishes. So it's like, oh, she's 22. Of course she just killed her drink. I'm sure she was fine the next day, too.
She's not, yeah, she burned that off on the way back to her cabin. Yeah. She didn't have any ill effects of that. Yep. But man, that's a great point. I hadn't considered that. Like, flashbacks to the part of my 21st birthday that I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. And yeah, like, I do like that Mariner is the one who's like, whoa, maybe slow. Okay, no.
Slow it down a little bit there. Okay, yes. We're doing this.
Mariner fits so well with that group. So good.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay, and here's part of the pressure for Jack and Tawny that we haven't talked about yet. They're stepping into the most gorgeous live-action television show where cast is concerned that exists. Yeah. Right? And not only do they hold their own, they totally fit. Yeah. I mean, they match that level of just physical gorgeousness that is replete throughout Strange New Worlds. And that's another thing that ties it into making it work, right?
Yeah.
I'm beside myself with all of this.
Well, we got 3 more calls. Let's hear from Zoe.
Open Pike Night. This is Captain Zoe Richardson of the USS Cinema commanding. Just watched the long-awaited crossover episode. It was just as delightful as I hoped it would be. I really loved how they bookended the whole show with the animation at the beginning and at the end of the episode. Everything just turned out nicely. It was just a fun watch, and I'm glad I watched it. Richardson out.
All right, thank you for calling in, Zoe. Cam, we did get a bookend of animation. Unfortunately, we didn't get more animated Orions, but we did get to see the live action ones.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those guys.
Loved the Orions. Again, that was kind of like a surprise heartstrings moment when they get to be scientists at the end. And yeah, it's such good storytelling. Like, it's just the small subplot, and they're really kind of just these antagonists to obstruct their objectives, and then suddenly at the end to kind of give them this great arc is so good. And now I just want to spin off about these guys. These Orion pirates who go around and steal stuff just so they can study it. They're like the Indiana Jones of space pirates. Or it made me think, like, is he the Orion? What's this? Steed Beckett, who's the Art Flag Means Death guy. Only he's a pirate who wants to be an intellect, and Art Flag Means Death guy is an intellectual who wants to be a pirate. But yeah, I definitely got some of those vibes. Like, that's probably how he runs his ship. We're not pirates, damn it. We're scientists.
One thing I loved about that whole sequence is you got to see it from the point of view of the bridge of the Orion ship showing up, and then they beam the people up from the planet very quickly. And it felt almost like competency porn. We're just seeing people do a good job. Everyone's good at their job. And even the Orion's like, he's a pirate, maybe scientist for sure. And he is very good at what he's doing. He takes the thing and he's gone 10 seconds later. It was just like, I love seeing people who are good at their jobs be good at their jobs.
So thank you, Ryan, for using the term competency porn. I feel like we use that all the time, and like half our guests look at us like, what are you talking about? Porn?
Yeah. Well, again,
really love competency.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody's super hot. Like, that's what, anyways. I have to comment here on the obvious, like, back and forth between the two writers' rooms, right? Like, having Lower Decks take loving shots at Strange New Worlds and having Strange New Worlds take loving shots at Lower Decks, it just functioned. Like, having Mariner say, have you noticed how quietly they all talk and so slow? And they're, making comments like, you've noticed they talk so fast?
Yeah. Have you noticed the really specific references? Yeah.
You could see writers sitting across table, like throwing barbs at each other, right? But none of it came across as like, our Star Trek is better than your Star Trek. It just came across as like, hey guys, we get to write Star Trek. Isn't that great? And that's, I mean, honestly, that's backed up from any writer interview that you can listen to in the Open Pike Night back catalog.
And I really liked the Orion captain because, they showed us, I believe they showed us in the previously on some of the shots from Serene Squall dealing with the Orions, although I don't know if it is in the most recent one. It seemed like it was just Spock and Chapel. They might have shortened that. But in my most recent watch, but it was nice that they highlighted that was going to come if we had to get it previously on, but it was also nice that it was just like, you could see the yearning. The guy, he really brought the performance, and even he got to be the butt of a joke with the like, we just told you we're time travelers. That's how we know the name of your. Like, we just said
he's not listening.
It's funny because that actor was in the movie Ad Astra back in 2019. I was like, this is one of the guys from Ad Astra. That's really funny. And then for it to matter so much, the same words, yeah.
Even the Orion jump to warp away was funny. Like, they took a thing we've seen 100 times and they turn it into a great joke. Like, oh, okay, well, let's hail. Oh, they're gone. Okay.
Yeah, they just yoink with the portal and flew away.
And the face that he gives to Boimler after that is just, I think one of our callers mentioned it. He's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Oh, man. So much not mad, just disappointed.
I mean, that's why I think your statement of like the jokes per minute exceeding Lower Decks even works here, because not only do you get the verbal jokes, but unlike Lower Decks, you get Anson Mount's like facial tics, which are just punchlines and jokes all on their own.
Yeah.
And it's one step away from having I don't mean to bring this up, but it's one step away from having a Han Solo character who is making fun of the movie that he's in the whole time, right? Like, Jedi mind tricks, like all this stuff I don't believe in. Like, you could have that character and La'an could play that character. Like, I don't think these are actual Starfleet officers. I don't know how they run things in your century, but they didn't even need it because Anson Mount does it with a scrunch of his face and like a little, three
punch
shaped
of his jaw.
Yeah. Like the little anime frown.
Jaw,
like,
that is.
Man. Oh.
Yeah. Just the not to again go back over the same territory we've trod, but like the look he gives Boimler when he's about to touch the captain's chair, it's like he's not shaking his head no, but he is doing everything but just shaking his head no, and then stand here. Like, just
pretty sure I've
amazing.
said that to my kids in that exact
So I have
tone.
to ask.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Said it to a
Just
dog.
stay here, please. Like, just be in the spot I left you when I come back. That's all I ask of you. You don't even have to like it or be quiet. Just stay here.
Yeah.
I have to ask, Ryan, since we kind of mentioned it, if you were given a chance to work on an episode like this and you were told you can bring one more Lower Decker into live action, who would you pick?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think, and I'm biased because I just finished writing a one-shot for the Star Trek Day of Blood summer event starring Shax. But Shax has such an energy that works in animation like gangbusters, and it would work in live action like gangbusters. I would love to see that man, that big, beautiful bear, just fill up the screen.
Did you see the fan who cosplayed as him for San Diego Comic-Con?
Yes.
It was, oh my God. Like,
no
go
notes,
get that guy.
perfect.
Yeah. I was jealous. I don't usually get jealous of Trekkies because of this show, but like, I was blown away. I was like, man, you were born Shax. Like,
yeah,
you were born Shax. Congrats.
I am definitely biased, and I would have to say former guest and personal podcasting hero Paul Scheer as Billups, who did get a name drop in this.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having Billups walk around a ship with incredibly attractive people and having that not faze him even a little bit, like, that's a great call, Cameron. Yeah. All right, let's get Paul Scheer on the show. Wait.
I would like to see Rutherford. I think Eugene Cordero could do a really fun job. We've seen him perform. Like, I think he would be another. It would obviously still be a comedy because if it's like, you bring Freeman on, it would be more of a drama, captain against captain kind of thing. But Rutherford would be really fun.
I can't believe we haven't mentioned Dr. Ta'ana.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how she would fit, but
yes.
Just get a costume from an old Cats performance.
The way that she might not fit might be the entire source of comedy for that episode. Man, you guys, maybe we should do a Lower Decks show too.
I mean, it's part of Strange New Worlds now.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely justified.
It's an easy cross.
Yeah. All right. We've got 2 calls left. Let's hear from our next caller, Peter.
Hi, it's Peter again. I just finished watching the crossover episode Those Old Scientists and thoroughly enjoyed it. This episode is my favorite from Season 2 and is current Trek's version of previous crossover classics like DS9's Trials and Tribulations. This was a good blend of Lower Decks' irreverent humor with a bit more seriousness from Strange New Worlds. Director Jonathan Frakes, the writers, and cast and crew of the show did an excellent job blending the styles and tones of 2 different Trek series into one. In addition to the actual crossover event, I liked how the story moved the Chapel-Spock relationship along. While Spock's smile was a bit disconcerting, I do hope that Chapel and Spock continue their relationship and see where it goes. While it's probably not realistic to have another crossover episode anytime soon, I hope Star Trek will have another similar story eventually, either with other characters from Lower Decks to Strange New Worlds, such as Commander Ransom meeting number 1, or an even bigger crossover event involving more Star Trek shows. Live long and prosper.
All right, Peter, thank you for calling in. It would be hilarious if they brought Ransom on and had somebody else play for the live.
I think they should, because I mean, Jerry O'Connell, I love you, Jerry O'Connell, because I assume you're listening with your best friend Anson Mount, but he's not the same height as Ransom. He's not blonde. He's probably in great shape, right? But
Fixing
Ransom
a post.
yeah. Ransom is ripped. Like, we're talking washboard abs here. So I'm not saying that Jerry O'Connell couldn't do it, but I agree 100%, John. Have a live action actor play that role, and
Jerry
then
O'Connell
have
voice him.
Jerry O'Connell dub all the lines.
Wouldn't be the first time
Just
Star
like
Trek's done
just
that.
like a Henry Cavill or somebody.
Yeah. Or like a Hemsworth brother, or like Chris Evans, like somebody that you're like, whoa, I can't believe they did that. Like,
I mean, if Chris Hemsworth came on, that'd be great, because then Jim Kirk could come on and be like, Dad?
You seem really familiar to me.
I like Spock and Chapel. It's amazing, after all the Spock and Chapel talk we've had the last few episodes, like, we haven't really talked about we didn't actually see them interact besides a greeting in the bar in this episode, right? Like, there was the talk that Chapel has with Boimler is followed by a talk that we don't see.
Right.
We get the conversation with Spock when they're doing the beautifully just campy 60s to 80s mad scientist
I
scene.
want a Dr. Science show with those two. Please give it to us now, along with Data painting and Pike's cooking.
Yes.
Yeah. We do really need the creative Star Trek channel. Like, it needs to happen. I mean, do it as a series of short treks. I don't care.
Yeah.
It was really nice to see Spock in his more human mode try to stand up for Nurse Chapel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's basically saying, hey man, you made my girlfriend cry.
Yep.
Why did you do that? And I need to know the answer right now. Temporal mechanics be damned. Like, that is not, I mean, we know Spock is a loyal person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after having seen him,
Kirk might disagree with you.
Well,
yeah.
Well, Kirk wasn't, his first captain, so. And he did sort of give his life for everybody on Kirk's ship, but I digress. To see Spock be loyal in an almost adolescent way, right? Like, I mean, that's a conversation you had in middle school or high school. Like, hey, bro, don't talk to my girl, right? Like, that was deeply humanizing. And to have his character be multitasking while he's doing this, right? Like, yes, this is a very important conversation I need to have with you, but also a bunch of science. And the cavalier nature with which he says, seek cover, and then just slowly walks away from an explosion is like, he is the cool guy and he's the nerd. And he's somehow less nerdy than the other person in the room, which has never happened before with Spock, right? Like, he's always been the nerdiest one in the room, kind of like how Una's used to being the smartest one in the room. That whole scene, you feel for Boimler, right? Because you're like, oh man, your hero is like grilling you. But you feel for Spock too. Because, I mean, Spock we always feel for because we love him, but we don't always relate to Spock, and that's by design, right? He is the other here. But to give us such a relatable moment from Spock in such a haphazard, like, bananas scene is an incredible choice. And I guess now that I say that out loud, that's this whole episode. Like, there are no scenes that are only there for one thing, right? They're all doing 100 things at a time.
Yeah.
It's
Hot
magic, you guys.
Spock's creepy smile is one of my favorite Star Trek things ever.
Oh
now.
my God. Like, they need to have a Spock dead-eyed smile contest, because boy, does Ethan Peck do it really well.
I think I saw this on Twitter that it looks like they may have turned up the contrast only on his teeth, like,
oh boy,
to make the smile extra white. But we've seen Spock smile before, and again, I love that the writers are just saying, like, yeah, relax. Spock smiles sometimes. Like, quit complaining about it online. He's a happy guy sometimes.
Yeah.
But to have it immediately subverted by Mariner, whoa, Spock smiling, what's going on? It's just like, it really did feel like we were on this episode, like, or maybe I was on this episode, but like, there were so many moments to relate to that it was like, this is Star Trek at its best. Star Trek when you can see yourself in it and realize that, everything that you go through and everything you feel and experience is totally normal, even if you're not great at communicating that. I mean, that's the heart of Star Trek, right? It's a deeply human story, and I'm completely blown away by the effectiveness of
every single scene here. There is no scene where I'm like, oh, they could have left that out. There was one scene where I was like, that was kind of a weird cut between those two scenes, which was the science scene to engineering when Boimler is talking to
It was a little
Pelia.
strange. Yeah.
I thought maybe, there's supposed to be a commercial black out there, but it didn't ruin anything for me. It just made me feel like I needed to stay caught up.
Yeah. I really like the 50s rubber aprons and the very like Manhattan Project style shielding they're using because they said, this is lower decks. It's 120 years in the past. So when Mariner's like, why don't you just make some up in the lab? Like for them, it would be hitting a couple buttons. It's like, no, they made it look very intentionally like, yeah, let's put a heavy thing over it and see if it blows up.
This is a big deal.
Is that why they dropped it early so it could drop on Barbenheimer weekend?
I was going to say, Jack Quaid, have yourself a weekend, my friend. This came out. Oppenheimer came out. His new Superman cartoon released an episode. Like at season 4 there's a new season of The Boys coming up.
Yep.
There's a new season of Lower Decks coming up. Like this guy is the it guy.
Oh yeah.
Like in 4 or 5 years, you wouldn't be able to get him for this episode because his schedule is going to be so incredibly full, right?
Yeah.
I'm way to go, Jack Quaid, seriously. And that is not to take anything away from Tawny Newsome. She is one of my favorite performers across media. If you don't listen to the official Star Trek podcast, I promise you're missing out. It's so much better than the official podcast for anything else that I've ever heard, because they just give Tawny a mic and Paul F. Tompkins a mic and say, go. And boy, do they go.
Ryan.
Yeah, let's talk about Pelia.
Yeah, Ryan, what do you think about Pelia?
Again, 10 out of 10 no notes.
Do you ever give Carol Kane notes? Probably not.
You don't. You don't. No, she brings a presence, like from the first appearance, like, oh, who is this person? I want to know more. Every scene she's in, I'd say she's stealing it, but she's with such talented performers that they're all on that level. So it just flows so nicely.
Yeah.
The scene stealing is an Ocean's level heist level theft. And I'm going to work on that comparison.
But you don't mind. You thank them for stealing.
That's right.
From you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we had kind of talked about like, oh, this line she says, she quotes somebody, and I kept waiting to be like, oh, who is it? Is it like Alexander the Great? Is it going to be something funny? Is it going to be like a Star Trek person? Like, who is it? And they never tell you. I thought I had cracked it on the last episode I was talking about. Obviously, her and Joe Biden must hang out because they're the only two people in the world who use the term malarkey. Also, they're both like 900 years old. So it must have been him that said it. But no, we learned on Twitter. Who was it, Jesse?
This was friend of the Star Trek community, Jörg Hillebrand, at Gachyogi49.
Of course, it was his attention to detail that caught that it is a Cary Grant quote from his biography. So I do love that. I love what's that?
Sorry, I said well, sure, in a Cary Grant voice. Well, sure.
Yeah, I just love picturing Pelia and Cary Grant hanging out. Maybe Hitchcock's there too, and they're just drinking, and he says that, and she's like, put that in a book.
And Pelia can dance, right? So, I mean, that's all there is to that. But what an apt quote to choose for an episode that is so much about the actors, right? Like, these people pretend to be other people on a daily basis, and now they really are these people. You guys!
Quick question for the nerds here. What is Pelia's other badge? She has that badge above her delta.
It's just some kind of brooch. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
It could be an academy thing, like this is a head of an academy department because she teaches there, or it's something she liberated from her store back on Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, other pedantic questions. What are all the shuttles doing? There's a lot of shuttle activity.
They're going all over the place.
For them,
shuttle business.
They're kind of in between missions.
Shuttle tours, yeah.
Yeah, the bridge crew may be between missions. Here's what I love about that scene. It shows that the lower deckers on every ship are always busy, right? Because the bridge crew isn't going to have time for every little side mission and side quest and, science scan sort of a thing, which I think is part of what they're addressing at the beginning of the Lower Decks segment. Like, yeah, this portal is known for not doing anything, so let's go scan it.
That's true. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
If you know more about Star Trek.
The room with the saddle, that's like Pike's office, right?
No, that's the conference room, I think.
He's got a desk, and that's where he, like, talks to people.
There's a desk. I think that's Pike's ready room /
That's what I've always thought.
Co-working space.
Because, any serious writer would have a saddle.
Yeah.
That's all
So
there
what's
is to it. It's
Uhura
totally
doing
normal.
studying in there? Why does she go into Pike's office to work?
Cam, you never stayed in a teacher's classroom at lunch to do something? Come on, you never had the...
Especially when the foreign exchange students in there and...
Yeah. Well, okay, so now that actually works, because it wouldn't surprise me to know that they assigned somebody to keep track of these ensigns while they were
She just
on the
acts
ship,
surprised,
right?
like, I'm sorry, I was coming in here to work, is what she says, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I would imagine that she's attempting to be the first at the table when the actual conference takes place, right? Because we know that she works hard, she has trouble relaxing, and she holds herself to a high bar. So, yeah,
she showed up early for the
kind
meeting.
of combine those answers. Yeah, she showed up early so that she could probably finish a couple notes, but also to be the first one there. Spoiler alert, I am not an Uhura in real life. I will get to work 10 minutes early and then wait for the clock to hit 1 minute left and then go in. That's
I will say,
show up early.
Cam, I'm surprised that your bump was the positioning of the Vulcan salute and not the Boimler saying, I think I know the solution, and then not telling Pike because they gathered everybody together for a conference.
That is a thing. That's a pet peeve
and
of
so
mine.
Pike was like, are you going to tell me the solution? No. Call the rest of the crew into the conference room, and then I'm going to start talking about how I misjudged
Except
you
that's
all.
a very Boimler thing to do, so...
Exactly, yeah.
Right. Haven't they even called that out on Lower Decks? Like, did you wait that whole time to say
exactly,
this?
Exactly. I loved that, because that is a Lower Decks subtle deep cut, but just seeing them like, oh, Cam, I
No. I got to reveal it with drama. I got to reveal it.
Yeah.
Now, we had Boimler doing a Riker maneuver. Did you gentlemen notice the other maneuver that was done in this episode?
Was there a tuck, a Picard maneuver?
Mariner does a Picard maneuver, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir, Ryan North. She certainly does. As soon as she stands up in Uhura's quarters from having been sitting down, she immediately does a Picard maneuver. Very subtle, probably indicative of that fact that Patrick Stewart invented that because of his ill-fitting uniform. But here that it's a choice because these uniforms are not ill-fitting.
You know that's on Tony Newsom's bucket list.
I can't even imagine the joy that they must have had, honestly. Because as I mentioned, she hosts the official Star Trek podcast. She knows her Star Trek. She's a huge Star Trek fan. And while we see most of those, fan moments through Boimler's eyes, I gotta think that the person, Tawny Newsome, was just... how did she even focus on her lines? Man, the quality here all the way through. There's nothing that I was like... oh, I wish they had done thing X. Again, except for the hair. Which
I'm sorry, Jesse, you're being obtuse. Did you like this episode or not? I can't tell.
It was all right.
All right.
It was all right.
You power through.
Well, let's hear from our last caller, Platty, and we know that he is started to define the way he views episodes. So let's see what he thinks are shits and misses from this episode.
Hey, Open Pike Night. This is Platty M3 with my hits, shits, and misses. All right, hits. High level. This is a top Trek episode ever. The whole thing was a hit. Obviously, there were just too many little hits to count, but I absolutely love the show Enterprise. So seeing the love it got with Ortegas and Uhura fangirling over their heroes, just like the Lower Deck crew does all the time, that was so much faith in my heart. Also, Mariner making the shape of Pike's future BB chair with her hands and gesturing to her face when he said he knew his future. That was just morosely hilarious. All right, shits. I was like, oh shit, is this already the end of Chalk? Or is it Spockpole? I don't know their ship name. But, oh shit, Boimler saved the timeline here. Guess we'll get a Sirius Spock back at some point. And misses. I'm sure I just missed so many other references that I'll just have to watch this episode like another dozen times to get them all. All right, we got a Strange New World definitely today, so that count is up to 5 out of 7 episodes. And I mean, this wasn't a pirate episode, but hey, it was a little bit less racist towards the Orions, so it just barely gets the nod over the Serene Squall in the battle of episode 7.
All right, Platty, bringing it's hard to really have anything wrong with this episode from every one of our callers. Like,
agreed.
It's pretty universal love for people who are willing to even watch these shows. So I'm sure there's plenty of hate from people who haven't even bothered to click on them, but I bet you the streaming count for Strange New Worlds is real high this week.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And having Mariner forget the name of the planet, like, so good. She calls it Chrome Hat D. I thank you for your structured call, Platty, because I, as you may have noticed, tend to struggle with structure with my thoughts, but I have to agree with you all the way across, right? Like, the entire thing is a hit. Like, I bet this isn't the end of Spapple or Chalk. I bet you there's a couple more episodes, maybe by the end of this season, but I would guess it's more of a season 3 thing.
It's the beginning of the end, though.
Yeah. But to see the seeds planted in such a genuine but accidental way, right? Like, we know that this is going to be Chapel telling Spock, like, hey, your future is more important than our future, right? Like, that scene that got set up here is going to just be absolutely devastating. So I'm looking forward to it as a fan, but I'm terrified of it as an emotional ball of tears.
Now, yeah, Platty mentioned that there's too many hits to count, so let's force ourselves to pick our favorite line from the episode. It may be harder than finding one criticism. Oh, okay. Well, start us off, Ryan.
Mine was easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, I thought of the line, they put it on the poster.
Just great.
Yeah.
You picked the heartwarming line.
Yep.
I mean, that was probably the best line. You're probably right. Damn it.
Well, and they could put this episode on the poster for Star Trek. Like, if they need people to get into Star Trek at all, this is the one.
All right. Well, I'm going to pick my favorite funny line. And, I think every time I watched it, I had a new one. I mean, the references are oddly specific, really got me. But for some reason, the last time I watched it, the line that just really tickled me more than any other was Rutherford's line, "Oh, they seem nice."
Yeah.
I don't know why. That just...
The one that's gotten me every time is, I mean, obviously there's so many good lines, heartwarming and comedy. This is definitely a comedy one, is when they're finding the old piece of the NX-01 and Pelia's like, careful, that's my floor. And I walk on that, and Spock's bitchy delivery of, it's illogical to think that you're the only one who... It's like, I have laughed my ass off of that every time. Like, that's so just
funny.
So mean to her.
That was Spock, because I was thinking about it. I thought that was Una. My memory was Una, probably just because I was remembering their rivalry from the episode before. It felt like an Una thing to say, but you're right. It was Spock because he said the logical thing.
That or the line right after when he's like, it is exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. A partially human Spock is like partially human bitch, right? Like, and I can say that because I'm a little bit of a bitch too. But I think for me, like, there isn't a single line, right? But if I were going to pick one for the sake of humor and for the sake of really illustrating the fact that this is a mix of two shows with two writing teams that both deeply understand their material, right after Mariner comes through the portal, which you see coming a mile away, right? Like, it's like 20 minutes into the episode and they're sending Boimler home. You're like, oh, she's going to fly through and knock him. Yep, I got this. All right. Still totally works. But one of the first things she says when Pike goes to get them all beamed back is she goes, ooh, ranks on the sleeves? I don't know how I feel about that. It's like, that's so perfect on a lot of levels, not the least of which being, how many people every week can you see on social media going, why are the rank stripes incorrect? Oh, that's not the right rank stripes for a captain or for a lieutenant commander. Or has this person been promoted? Like, no, man, they put them on there because they look good. Like, that's why the stripes and the uniforms are the way they are. That's why they let everybody wear whatever uniform they feel like wearing on the bridge instead of having an actual uniform where it's all the same one, right? They're playing to these characters' strengths. So to have it called out in such a subtle, almost missable way is again magic.
All right. Well, we've gotten through all our callers, and now we have not one but actually
let me
two rankings to do.
Ask
tonight.
a very important question real quick, if I may.
Yeah.
If TOS on Lower Decks stands for Those Old Scientists, what does TNG stand for?
I actually thought about this earlier today, Cameron.
Oh.
It's the new guys.
Yeah.
The new
I was gonna say
guys.
new guys.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good. That's probably better than Those Naughty Geezers.
Okay, well, now I'm conflicted because but Picard is the oldest one, right? Like the rest of them aren't really.
But I mean, for them,
unless you're
they're
talking
old.
season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with the way Boimler, the original Enterprise, well, the second Enterprise, I think the new guys might work.
Yeah.
That's yep. All right.
But they do, to your point, in Lower Decks, they just say Voy. Like,
Do
Boimler's
they?
like, I love Voy.
Yeah.
Like, Voy is one of my favorites. It's like,
Stop it. Yeah.
man.
All right. So, Jesse, we are 70% of the way through season 2 of Strange New Worlds. And we just got our half-season Boba Fett Mandalorian style Lower Decks episode that you kind of maybe have to watch to enjoy the next season. We'll just have to see how bad that one is. So, of course, we are ranking season 2, episode 7 against season 1, episode 7, The Serene Squall. Jesse, start us off. Which one's a better episode?
It's not fair. Like, this would be like, is the Best of Both Worlds part 1 better than Redemption part 1? Like, yeah, it is. It just is.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I might have been the one who liked the Serene Squall the most last season of the three of us. And I feel like I haven't picked a season 1 episode yet this season, but it can't be this one. It just can't. This is one of the best episodes of Star Trek, full stop. So this episode gets my nod.
Yeah. All right, Cam.
Yeah, not only is this better, but it has a perfectly reasonable cold open length as well. So 100% Those Old Scientists.
True. Yeah. Ryan, how about you?
I mean, I'm entirely biased, but yeah, I think Lower Decks is great, and Lower Decks of Strange New Worlds is peanut butter and chocolate. They're both amazing. They go great together. Ship it.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
Yes.
Dang.
And I was definitely the least fond of Serene Squall when it came out. And yeah, I mean, I know I said last episode of my call-in that it was a bigger distance between season 1 and season 2, but this is even more so. Like, this is far and away a better episode of Star Trek and Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. And it's just, this will be like I said, I think this is a holiday special. I think this is going to go down in the history of Christmas miracle specials of television.
It is a holiday special. It's Pike's Day.
Yeah, exactly.
We just didn't know it.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, I do have one ranking for you. It's said in this world that there are 3 types of people. There are T-Rexes, there are Utah Raptors, and there are little guys standing next to their house. So which one of us is which on this podcast?
Ooh, I like that.
Wow. I mean, in my heart of hearts, you're all little guys standing next to us.
All right.
It's probably fair.
You're so right.
Yep.
You're so right. It's like you've been listening for a year, man.
No, I can do this. Well, I mean, Jesse is definitely the T-Rex because he's the one who talks the most.
Yeah, that's true.
And has the most to say. But between John and I, well, John builds a house, so he would stand proudly next to his house.
There you go.
He's built a cabin, and I just
he's
question
in
Jesse
Utah
all the time. And he lives in Utah, so he'd be, oh, you're right. Shit.
Yeah.
Shit. It's all crumbled down.
I mean, I've gotten many emails, people being like, I thought Utahraptor was some sort of joke. I didn't realize there was a raptor named after Utah.
Yeah. What do you think the state dinosaur of Utah is? Yeah, that's right. The Allosaurus.
Pterodon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's the Allosaurus.
Wow.
State bird, California seagull.
Wait, states have dinosaurs?
What?
Yeah. State tree,
Oh, yeah, you didn't know
Colorado
that,
blue
Cam?
spruce. Yeah.
I'm going to have to go do some research after this.
Dang.
guys have made
Ours
some
is the
choices.
Triceratops,
Ah.
and I think it's because they found one here.
Yeah.
But
Alaska must be the mammoth. Is that right?
I would hope so.
that's not a dinosaur.
Yeah.
I know, but fossil? It's probably fossil.
No, it's
old
state
animal.
dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like, Google
All
the
right.
term state dinosaur.
I will be. And on a deep dive after this. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find out more about your work?
Well, you can read the dinosaur comics we've been discussing at quants.com, but that's hard to spell. So dinosaurcomics.com also gets you there.
Nice.
And I have a personal website with all my stuff, including my Star Trek books at ryannorth.ca.
Nice. Well, and I'll be
Excellent.
picking up some of those Adventure Time comics for my kids and definitely looking out for those Lower Decks comics as well.
Awesome. Please enjoy.
Open Pike Night is an open mic night themed comedy podcast. So, did you bring a joke for us this evening?
So I am a professional comedian and therefore always have jokes at my disposal. And I definitely remembered this and did not try to think on the spot of jokes I tell my nephew. So with that context, why don't pirates take a shower before they walk the plank? Why don't pirates take a shower before they walk the plank?
Why don't pirates take a shower before they walk the plank?
Yeah.
Because they just wash up on shore.
Oh, that's see. I'm thinking R puns, and
Yeah.
you went a
I
different
was
way.
too.
I
I
like
was
it.
like, R, and then the other version of that is no, but their first love is the sea, right? Like
Yeah.
R and C.
Yeah,
so
you
I was like,
think it's an
afraid of the
alphabet
sea?
joke, but it goes a little bit deeper than that.
But good.
Very subversive. Well
and
done.
appropriate for this episode.
Yeah.
Good pirate joke. Yeah.
And like I said, I know like my personal favorite of yours are Dinosaur Comics and the Machine of Death Project. Like the Heat Death
Thank
of the
you so
Universe
much.
story has stuck in my head for
Yes.
like 12 years
Aw.
now. I love it. I love the idea, and I love
That's
the game.
great.
So
I love to hear that, and I love that you have chosen all this creator-owned work to be like, that's what I like the best, because that warms the cockles of my heart.
John is not exaggerating. So usually when we get a guest and they tell me in the chat, I flip out and I'm just a giddy child. But this time when we found out who was coming on the show, it was John's turn to freak out like a giddy child. So thank you for giving us that, Ryan North.
My pleasure.
thank you for being here. And yeah, it's been great talking to you, and we look so forward to all your future work, Star Trek and non-Star Trek related.
Thanks so much. I
Yeah.
look forward to writing it.
That was a great conversation with Ryan North about episode 7, Those Old Scientists. Jesse, if folks want to find out more about how they can get on the Open Pike Night stage or where they can follow us, what can they do?
If you'd like to get your voice on the Open Pike Night stage, you can go to openpike.com/join us. There's a little button right there that says record, and you can send it directly to us. If you prefer a little higher quality on your audio clip, go ahead, record an MP3, and then email it to us at openpike@gmail.com. If you'd like to take part in some of those social media conversations you heard me reference throughout the show, you can find us basically anywhere at Open Pike, and I do really mean anywhere, like Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. We are everywhere. Just go find us at Open Pike and follow us.
You can also find us in a couple of weeks at Star Trek Las Vegas. We will be there spreading the good word of the podcast, meeting some actors, maybe getting some more signatures on that apron if you want to go join our Patreon and be entered in a contest to win an apron signed by probably more than just Anson, Mount, and Ethan Peck.
And we'll be handing out free stickers, of course.
And if you're going to be there, come say hi to us.
Absolutely. We're going to be probably doing a little bit of a different type of recording for episode 9, which, I don't know, episode 9 might be kind of a popular one for people to talk about. So we'll definitely be getting some live recordings from the any fans of Strange New Worlds we can meet on the con floor, and that'll be a big part of our episode for that week. And we'd like to congratulate our pin winners for our social media engagement. We had winners from all the platforms. We had a lot of engagement, a lot of new listeners, a lot of new followers. It's great to have you all in the Open Pike Night family. Anybody who would like to support us on Patreon would be much appreciated. We appreciate every one of our supporters. We especially like to shout out our 25-minute set supporters, Pam, Marhana, Mark, and Steve. Thank you very much for all the support. Thank you for believing in independent podcasting, and thank you for believing in Open Pike Night. We are excited about the rest of Season 2 of Strange New Worlds, and we are very curious to see what comes next with everything going on in the entertainment industry right now.
If you'd like to support those folks in the entertainment industry, we're going to include a link in the show notes to the Entertainment Community Fund, which is run by SAG-AFTRA, and you can help people who are out of work right now pay their bills.
Call the AMPTP and tell them to come back to the bargaining table. We are soon going to be in a point where there's not a whole lot of new content coming out, and we live in a world where there's a lot of content. But if you enjoy watching shows, call the big companies and tell them to pay the people who actually make the art a reasonable, livable wage. It is not a lot of money out of their pockets, and they are bleeding everybody dry, and they need to stop it. So call and support the strikers, the WGA, SAG-AFTRA, and anybody who may be coming next. Look at what happened with UPS. It was a huge win for labor with that, and everybody can benefit.
Tell them to pay the people who write and say lines like, they put that on the poster?
Absolutely. So Cameron, when you're not on the Open Pike Night stage, where can folks find you?
Yeah, you can find me along with John and a couple of other of our co-hosts watching The New Guys. I'm the new guy to The New Guys, watching TNG for the first time. I am season 6, started DS9 Minutes now even, which is a fun, punchy podcast. Check us out wherever you're listening to this, or at GreenShirt87 on Twitter.
Jesse, where can folks find you when you're not on the Open Pike Night stage?
Just stay in this podcasting app and look up Sudden But Inevitable. It's the show where I force my friends to experience single-season television shows that were canceled before their time for their first time. So if you like to hear people get forced to like stuff, check out Sudden But Inevitable. I also recently had the pleasure of guesting as a host on the Crusher Combo podcast with our friends Jesse and Michelle, who are frequent callers. We got to talk about the inner light, you guys. So trust me, it's a good episode. Go check it out when it drops.
Well, it's been a long night, and the Open Pike Night crew just found a weird portal tunnel looking thing in the basement of the comedy club, so we're going to go check it out and take some pictures in front of it. Be sure to clean up after yourselves. Be sure to tip your servers. You can go anytime you want, but you can't stay here.